On this episode of the Drift Games vlog, I get taped into a car, we try and break the Irish Landspeed record, and we try and do it all in the dark. Let's get it! What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode on the Drift Games channel. This episode is a little bit special because we're going to do something that's actually quite dangerous. We're going to try and become the fastest men in Ireland. Well, not exactly. We're going to try and make this car, the Mobile One Ford Mustang, become a drift car that's gone the fastest in Ireland. The actual land speed record for a car in Ireland is 188 miles an hour. And that doesn't sound a lot. Well, the reason being, there's not that many big spaces in Ireland that actually get a lot of speed up. In the late 80s, the Irish government built the M50 motorway, which is a ring road around Dublin city. And it was there that Martin Boran, who passed away last year, set the land speed record of 188 miles per hour. That's a big stretch of road. We don't have that kind of space. We've only got about a mile. So it's going to be really tricky to get the speed out of this car. And if you put that in perspective, legally, the fastest a car has ever been recorded in Ireland doing is 289 kilometers per hour, which was a McLaren 720S with a couple of, adjustments and upgrades. So we don't know what this is going to do. What we do know is we've got 900 brake horsepower. We've got a very unaerodynamic car that's set up for drifting that we need to adapt in a couple of hours to make it ready for a high-speed run. So the first thing we need to do is check all the brake system, make sure the discs, the pads, everything else is bled, everything works, because tomorrow, if they fail, that's my ass. Okay, so the next thing is to check everything throughout the car is connected properly. Now, we've just done a full drift season on this car, just to check all the bolts haven't come loose, that there's nothing rubbing off something it shouldn't be. It's something we do before every drift event anyway, but this is obviously a little bit more high risk. So me and Mikey are going to go through, check everything is tight, and if it is, we're going to drop the car down on the ground. Okay, so we've checked under the car, everything seems to be A-OK, which is pretty good after a season's worth of hard driving. Now we've got to take to the front of the car, which is actually the most critical part. One, we've got to check the engine, which is roughly running about 890 horsepower at the moment. Check that the belts are tight, make sure there's coolant, make sure there's fresh Mobil 1 oil in there, make sure that everything is A-OK, that we are able to seal the bonnet closed, because what's happening at that kind of speed is this car is going to start tearing itself apart. Fiberglass panels all on the front of the car, some plastic, and this is actually not a good thing for high speed because, well, they're only held on with cable ties most of the time in drifting. So what we've got to do is actually screw on, bolt on, and attach as much of these panels as securely as possible as we can. Patrick, who runs the Runway Club, told us the last guy that attempted a run like this only had 2 aftermarket parts on the car, which were 2 front fiberglass wings, and both of them came off at 170 miles an hour. So we don't want that happening tomorrow. So we're going to make sure everything here is buttoned down nice and tight. So now we've sealed the bonnet and we're going to start basically taping over all of the panel gaps. This makes the car a little bit more aerodynamic, and it also stops the air getting between the gaps and starting to rip off bits of the car. And hopefully when we hit over 150 miles an hour, we don't have wings and bumpers and stuff flying off. The night before, we attempt to do some big speed in Weston, and we've spanner checked the whole car, we've checked it for oil, we've checked it for coolant, we've checked the link ECU to make sure everything is running okay, and that all seems to be pretty good. All the panel gaps are now gone, everything is taped down, for drift speeds, they're fine, but for this, we've cable tied the bonnet down, we've basically put as much tape as we can, we've covered all the shuts. Now, we've done the passenger side, obviously we'll have to do the driver's side when I get in the car tomorrow, and we have to obviously leave the lights exposed because it's actually going to be a little bit dark when we're doing this. It's right in the end of the day, so that's going to make it even more scary. We put in some Sunoco GT Plus, that's 110 octane race fuel, which is what the car runs on, gives us a lot more power than the regular 95 that you'd find at the pump. And tomorrow morning, we're going to have to come back with a few little things. One, we're going to change the tires because, well, these tires that we normally use, the semi-slicks for drifting, are pretty good for drifting. They're not actually rated to go at that highest speed. So we've got to get some fresh tires in tomorrow, make sure the car is aligned, tracked, and balanced to make sure we have no vibrations. And we're going to take a sleep tonight, back at it again in the morning. Tomorrow's game day. Bright, early in the morning, it's game day, and we're back in the workshop getting the Mustang ready for the high-speed run today. Now, big job we got to do is change the tires. We mentioned that you know, semi-slick tires. The temperature is going to be about 6-7 degrees on the track, could be lower. So we're not going to get a whole lot of heat into the tires. And also the general tires we use for drifting aren't rated for high speed. So we've got some very new, very nice fresh rubber on the car. We also have to realign the front of the car, take out all the camber which we put in for drifting to make it a bit more stable in a straight line. And then it's button it all up, take it on the trailer and head to Weston Airport. Okay, car loaded on the Brian James trailer. We have everything checked over. It's as good as it can be. Now the nervous part as we head to Weston. We've just arrived at Weston Airport. Getting a little bit nervous now because we're actually here. The car is here. The runway is about to shut down. I'm a little bit more nervous than I thought I was. This is quite a scary thing to do. Before we kind of decided to do this experiment, we obviously had to do a lot of insurance stuff, which Cian was just talking to all of the people here at Weston and Runway Club and our insurers. So is this the stuff I don't want to hear, basically?
Kind of. So I suppose we should talk about what we're trying to do. So 290 kilometers an hour is what we're trying to hit here. So that's 180.2 miles an hour. So that would unofficially beat the on home soil Irish land speed record. Now what you don't want to hear is the conditions of the runway. It's not warm, it's 2.5 degrees out there. It's pretty mossy, I've been told. It's a little bit sketchy. I think it's been drizzling a little bit as well. So, yeah. I mean, the car, it seems pretty stiff. I think the prep has been good, but we just don't know about the condition of the runway here. So
it's not ideal because usually they do this in the summer and we're doing it like in the middle of winter.
Exactly. And I mean, you've got 1 kilometer to hit the speed you're going to hit. You've got 650 meters braking distance here.
We were suggesting let's do a sighting lap, get up to over 200k.
Exactly.
Just feel how the conditions are. Obviously we put new tires on, we don't know how they're going to react.
Yeah.
It's a bit damp. That's the bit I'm most worried about. And then after that we've obviously got to go for the big runs. Now we might do 1 or 2, and after 1 we could move the braking later.
Yes.
But the bit I'm most worried about now is that all of these land speed records have been done in cars specifically for land speed records, or supercars or hypercars.
Yes.
So we've taped it up, which will make it a little bit more aerodynamic. The bit I'm worried about is that because it doesn't sit very low, there's a lot of air going under the car. It's very unaerodynamic, which as we mentioned. The other problem I have with it is that they all have electronic diffs and stability control and traction control. I don't have any of those. I have no ABS, so I can't come on the brakes hard or it's going to lock them. I have literally got to play with the throttle because it will spin in first and second gear most of the time, and then maybe in third we'll get, so I might have to short shift first and second to get into third. Exactly. So maybe on the sighting lap we'll be able to figure that out. But the idea I think is just to stare at the horizon and just plant it and see what happens.
Test the conditions. We need to see how the tires feel, we need to see how the runway feels, we need to see what the braking distance is like, especially because that's going to be massively important at those speeds. So that's a big one.
You can worry about what goes wrong, but you can do nothing. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I mean, there's nothing like, at that speed, I can't do anything anyway. We hope that the safety stuff in the car and the response team and stuff and my safety stuff is fine. But other than that, we just got to keep it between basically perfectly straight in this particular part of the runway and then gun it all the way until those flags. So the best thing to do now is, and also just to add even a bit more scariness to it, is that I have to get in the car and then we have to tape my door closed.
Yes, exactly. You're not coming out till this is finished, so.
Sort of trapped in the car a little bit, yeah. But let's do a lap or 2 and see how far we are away and we'll know more then.
Exactly.
I guess you could look at it as we're making a YouTube video, which this is kind of a bit over the top for a YouTube video, kind of risking this much. And I think I'm not a professional racing driver. I'm not even really a professional drifter. So this is definitely faster than I've ever gotten in the car. It's not comfortable. I think the fact that the conditions aren't perfect or as good as they may have been for some of the other attempts at this, I think is probably going to worry me the most because I don't know how much grip is going to be on. It's very cold, it's only 2 degrees. The tires have to get warmed up and stuff, and I'm not sure exactly how it's going to react. I'm a little bit worried about the car itself. It's not particularly set up for this kind of thing. So we're kind of thinking it's got a lot of power and it should do it, but if anything goes wrong, you can't really think about anything going wrong, but at the same time, you have to accept that risk when you go and do it. I don't know what's going to happen, which is the bit that's unnerving me. I think once I get 1 run done, it might feel a bit easier or better, I'm not sure. Best thing now is to just kind of get strapped in, make myself feel comfortable, make sure all the safety stuff is right, and then head to the runway. We've only got a short window to do 2 or 3 runs. Let's see how it goes. Let's hope the car holds together. Everything seems okay now, so it's going to be a different story when we get out on the runway though. It's going to be a lot more intense. So yeah, here we go. This is the interesting bit. We interrupt this video to give a very special shout out to one of our partners here at Drift Games, Mobil 1 Oil. Mobil 1 Oil is used by some of the best drifters in the game, such as these guys. As you can see, even I made the cut into the best drivers in the game. What? So yeah, Mobil 1 is used by the best drifters in the world, and me. All right, let's get back to the video and see if we can break this record.
I must admit now, it's kind of like sketchy when you're watching one of your mates doing this. Like, you know, we joke about a lot of things, but I hope he's alright.
Okay, so I just warmed my tires. There is no grip whatsoever down here. It's damp and there's moss on the tarmac, which is not good.
Okay, Dave, runway is clear. You are free to go. Free to go.
Still spinning. Looks like we're spinning wheels all the way to fourth, which is not good for getting the traction down.
Everything seems to have went fine. He's stopped, he's turned around, he's going back. Okay guys, he's on the way back up here.
Hey guys, I'm just going to push. I'm going back up because I want to push the flag, the braking distance flag, an extra 80 metres to 100 metres along.
I don't know how we're going to get any more grip down onto the ground because first gear, second gear, third gear is just spinning the car, so I'm not sure what we're going to do there.
He's no traction whatsoever, so he's going to keep doing as many runs as possible.
Have to push the braking later again, Mike, because I literally have no traction on the way up. Like, it's spinning wheels nearly up to the top of fourth. I'll try it a different way. Let's just keep doing runs. She'll do runs all day like that. I'll be trying to figure it out.
On the way back down, guys, and he seems very happy. He's going a lot later now and it's working.
One more run. So now we're going to go into the last run. We've no grip on the run up, and then the car just wasn't pulling the way I expected it to pull when it got to the later stages. So I'm going to try and let it go a little bit further now. I think it might be an issue with the power in the car, and it might be an issue with grip. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to break any records today. We're way away, so I'm not sure what we're going to do.
So the airport's telling us it's getting too dark. This is going to be our last run.
Last run, Dave. Go for it this time.
Wayne Kern's given the inspirational advice of go for it. I'm going to say don't lift until you're past me. Much better that time, Dave. Well done. He looks happy. He looks happy. Dave, I think that was your last run. We're getting kicked off, but it definitely seemed the fastest of all of them. It's okay, Dave. I'm coming. How was that?
That was all she had, but like, I don't know if you can look back on the footage, but I counter steered at 5th gear down the motorway and it was just spinning wheels. So like, it would just about grip in 5th. Everything up to that I couldn't go full throttle. And if I remember back from drag racing the car before, once I got to 3rd, I was pinned the whole way.
The last time we were here was a lot warmer.
It was warm, the temperature was warm. So like,
yeah.
even though I tried to warm the tires, it was like being on ice for the first, say, 200 feet, 250 feet. And then just when you hit halfway along the runway, then it would have a bit of grip and you could then go. And that was all she had. But you were starting so low in 4th because you were spinning in 3rd. You were almost short shifting. So I think, will the car do? I think it will do it. I just think you need grip. And what I realized is that you need the track temperatures warm. Like, you really need it warm, because if you're spinning wheels all the way through the gears, sure, you're going nowhere.
It was 1 degree when you're out.
I don't think I was full throttle until 5th. I'd like to do it on a warm day, so I'd like to come back and do it when it's actually a warm day. I think we can go back at it next year, and then I think next year we should be able to do it. I think not a major amount of changes, just a little bit of a different time of year, and maybe some more light, and
More light and just more heat.
That was probably the most frightening thing I've ever done, though. And it wasn't frightening. The weird thing is, it's not frightening at 140 or 50 miles an hour. It's frightening at 100 miles an hour when you're just spinning wheels and counter steering in the middle of a runway, and it's dark, and you're kind of going, just settle down and go on, and it just wouldn't. So the potential is definitely there. So I don't think the expectations were high to come and do something amazing. I think the expectations can be lowered now and say it's really difficult to do, 180, 190 miles an hour, really difficult. And I think you need the conditions in your favor. You need it to be warm. So I think we should come back early next year, maybe when the temperatures start to rise a little bit, give it another run, see what happens, and hopefully we won't have all the moss everywhere and all that kind of stuff. And we'll maybe configure it, go from the other side of the runway, something. So I think the best thing to do now is like evaluate, because we've never done this before. Evaluate
it's new to us. It's completely
and
new.
I think it's even more fun that we failed, because
Now we can go back
I
and
was
do it.
disappointed for a while there in the car, but I was like, it's more fun that you fail, because then you can learn what to change. So if we just did it in one go, it'd be like, no problem, everyone can go 190 miles an hour and break the Landspeed record, which is a ridiculous thing to think
about it, yeah.
as arrogant as we were about an hour ago. But I think the best thing now to do is take that information, do it again, and then if we can actually achieve it, it's a big achievement, because
I think we can achieve
I think we can achieve it. I think we can do a lot more to make sure that we get there. And if we get another opportunity, I think we can smash it. We're still alive, though.
We're still alive. The car's here. I wasn't
touch and
expecting
go,
this,
touch and go for a bit there. Now. There was some moments.
I had some distance to run to save you now. I didn't realise.
Yeah.
You
You kept going, break later, Dave, and I was like, you're out of the car, Mike.
It's grand.
I was like, I have this much travel in my brake pedal. It's like on off, but it was fine. Cool.
That's good.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. We didn't break the Landspeed record. We were probably a little arrogant about it, but what we did do was learn a lot about trying to break the Landspeed record. Conditions weren't with us today. Too greasy, too much moss, too cold, and I think we need to tune the car a little bit more power. Maybe throw some nitrous in there, you never know. And we'll come back next year when it's a nice warmer day with a little bit more sunshine, and I think we'll be able to do it. So if you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments below. Sorry we didn't break the record for drift cars. I think we went fast for a drift car, but we didn't go fast enough to beat all the cars. We'll be back next year stronger than ever. So catch us on another episode of the Drift Games channel. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Drift Games vlog. We've got a lot more crazy episodes coming up soon, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us on this new journey. We've got madness from all over the world to show you guys, and make sure that you turn on the notification bell as well, because then on your phone or on your computer, you'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. I promise you, plenty of crazy stuff to come up. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.